IVM.
नमस्कार, नमस्कार, namaskar. Namaskar, Bandhu. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi, and good to see you here today on Begin the Journey. Today, we will talk about something which will allow you and me to ongoingly negotiate through life. Let's face it, dear friends, you and I face challenges. Challenges are things which we see outside of us, and they are outside of us because that is how it comes up, and then we are supposed to interact with it. Now, let us look at ways and how we can dilute that power that that challenge has over us. Let's take some real examples. Examples at work. You are probably working with someone with whom you are not very comfortable. There are things that are asked from you and you will find it very hard to deliver, but you can't do. That person seems absolutely unrelenting, all right? And that person doesn't give up, says, I need it, means I need it any which way. And you feel pressured into thinking that, how will I lead my life this way? How will I lead my professional life this way? Now, the same thing could apply to something in your personal life. Personally, there are relationships which are not doing too well. And you just find that, why can't that person understand? Why is that person in such a way? Dear friends, in these scenarios or any scenario that is happening in your life, remember, the one thing that you have on your side is the power and the tool of communication. Communication is not just you saying something and that happening. Communication is your weapon to use in such a way such that people at large can dilute certain things about them. I will give you an example. Years back, as I was shooting many films down south, there was one particular producer with whom I had an issue. That person's checks would bounce. Now, this was a period much before bouncing checks were a crime. I'm sure they're a crime and still it bounces. But at that point, it was not a crime. So the check would bounce and he would say, sir, I'll pay you later, sir. And I would feel like a victim and I would go to the next shoot, knowing fully well that this gentleman will again not pay. So it happened that I remember we were shooting in a grove in Chennai, and it was a mango grove, and we were shooting. And as I was sitting there, I said that, you know what? I have to have a conversation with him other than just pay me the money. If you don't, then I will not come. I said I had to do something. So I remember I walked up to him and I shared with him. I said, dear sir, you know what? I am going to complete this film because I know that this film is important. I know that you are short of cash at this moment. You do not have the money with you. So therefore, from my end, I promise you I will complete the film. But I also want you to understand, dear sir, that I need the money. This is my livelihood. I need this money for the stuff that I need at home. And I sat down and had a clear communication with him. I let him know that I'm there for him, but there are certain things that I need to deal with. Now, I promise you, even as I was having that conversation, I was wondering, will it make any difference? Will it make any difference at all? Because I had a story about this gentleman that he doesn't want to pay, doesn't need to pay, and I will still be there. And I said, I will open myself up and communicate with him that I understand where he is and to communicate with him as to where I stand. It was a very interesting time, dear friend. As I began shooting, by the end of the day, he came and handed me a check. The next morning, as we deposited it, we came to know that it got cleared. Dear friends, this is not just one point case where I'll say how communication helps. I want you to see that communication at times will take long periods of time. Yes, because what it does is that as you communicate, you soften the shell that people are in. Your boss, that relationship of yours, each one of those things are hardened shells. Those hardened shells need watering so that they can get a little soft before you can finally pierce. And as you pierce, you know what happens? They get to see an amazing version of you, and you get to see an amazing version of that person. In life, as I travel, there are times that I see no hope and I harden myself. Oh gosh, why did this happen? I start communicating with myself. I allow myself to actually see that, hey Ashish, don't harden your shell. Allow possibilities to seep in. Communication allows possibilities to seep in with others and with ourselves. Communication is actually a two-way tool. It allows me to see possibilities of the world and the world to see the possibilities of me. Dear friend, you are immense possibilities personified. Allow the world to see you. Allow yourself to see the possibilities galore in people around you, even those people who appear very nasty and not so good. I promise you, dear friend, as you allow communications to open doors, to make cracks in theories that you have and they have, it is something which will take an effort, but it is worth it. Over the years in my life, I keep on communicating with myself, with others, with life. I'm very clear. This communication is my ability to breathe out and breathe in. Breathing out what I believe in and breathing in what others see their life as. And as the twain meet, some magic gets created. Let's keep traveling down this conversation called life. Let's keep communicating through this conversation called life. I would love to hear your thoughts. How will it be for you if you keep conversing with life and people each day? Al Shukran Bandhu, Al Shukran Zindagi. Thank you for walking with me on Begin the Journey. You may reach out to me on Twitter, on Ashish Vid, on Instagram, on Ashish Vidyarthi1, on my new website, avidminer.com, and of course, on my YouTube channel, Ashish Vidyarthi Official. Thank you for walking with me on Begin the Journey. Look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers and keep conversing with life.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Cedar Tires and TheWholeTruthFoods.com. Thank you for your support. We did a bunch of cock and bulls this week. We had guests like Ayushi Amin and Puneet Pania for that. Besides that, Vasanti Hariprakash was on, as well as Jay Alani, a paranormal investigator. Really, really great week on Cyrus Says. Do check it out. Tune into This Round is on Me for an episode recorded from Gulmarg featuring one of India's professional alpine skiers, Arif Khan, who's looking forward to representing India at the Beijing Olympics. On The Habit Coach, Ashton has a chat with Kunal Rajput, a popular fitness trainer who recently completed 7 rounds of his Unlock workout series. The reunified, simplified gang of Tony, Naren, Chuck, and Srikat discussed NFTs on the latest episode. On The Millennial Athlete, Tanvi and Shlok looked back at all the England championships of the year so far and discussed the interesting highlights of the same. Also on Thale Harate, our Kannada podcast, Ganesh spoke to Archana Shyam of Antharanga Theatre in the latest episode. And on Kadai podcast, our Tamil show, Kavita Jiva shed light in another story about the bravery and excellence in the governance of the Pallava dynasty. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are 2 passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset, and everything sport.
So tune in to The Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the 3 of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.